Welcome to this new Flight Simulator update movie. In this movie, we're going to look at an update which has been released yesterday. It will update the nav data and World Hub updates. So what's that nav data? That updates the AIRAC cycle to 2407, so you can use the latest navigation data in Flight Simulator. And what's that? Those World Hub updates? Well, those are airports which are updated as part of those World Hub submissions. That's a tool which is still not yet released to the public, but where you can, provide some feedback about airports or improved versions of the airport. And as you can see, it contains both the smaller airports, but also some larger airports. And it's really across the world, right? So you can see the US, but we also can see Eastern Europe, which has been updated. Or at least several airports have been updated. So that's pretty interesting to see. So now how to get the update? Relatively easy, right? Simply start Flight Simulator, and when you start Flight Simulator, it will prompt you to update. The update itself is roughly 300 megabytes, and after that you will have the latest and greatest, including those World Hub updates and the latest RAC cycle, which makes planning easier using SimBrief, for example, because SimBrief is always using the latest version of the RAC cycle, and if you are using, let's say, Flight Simulator without the update, then you might see some weird things which are happening with planning flights using SimBrief. It will work perfectly with a world planner, right? Or with a world map planner, which is in Flight Simulator, because that one is always using the navigation data, which is in the simulator. Now, as always, I was wondering if nothing else has changed, right? So, and to do that, I'm always using my friend Powershell because it allows me to do a lot. So I go always to the Flight Simulator folder, right? And inside the Flight Simulator folder, you will find the official folder. The official folder, that's the folder where Asobo, stores their official content. And that one will contain the OneStore folder, which is over here. So that's really good. And if we would do an LS, right, then you can see all kind of directories, including, I would say, the ones which are bought via the store, for example, the RBX. You can see the local legends, but you can also see landing challenges, tutorials, and a lot of other things. So that's really cool. So how can we figure out what has been updated in this folder? Well, what I always do is run a commandlet, and I will show it quickly with this one. And this is, I would say, one which would iterate across all the directories, right? So to make it easier, what you can do is you can go do this. Then you only see the directories which are updated, in this case, at the time when I updated Flight Simulator. Now, if I would do, or would like to understand which folders or which files have been updated, I can still do the same, and that's something you already saw, right? As a surprise, it is adding minus recurse, which will go inside those folders and then will iterate. So it will start with showing you the folders which have changed, and then it will start continuing looking inside those folders. And you can see massive amount of BGLs which have been updated. But if you quickly look at the top, there were also some other files, right? And that also caught my attention. So let me press Ctrl+C here and then go one step back, because you can see that in this case also the FS-based air traffic has been updated. And that, I would say, it sounds like that folder is used for the artificial intelligence and for the traffic, right, which is in the air. So let's go to that folder. And if we go to that folder, then we need to do it like this. And if we go into that, you will see that it contains multiple folders. And let's say these all have been changed, right? So layout and manifest are not that interesting. But if you go inside the scenery folder, you will find the world folder. And inside the world folder, you will find the traffic folder. And if you go into that, you will finally find some content, which includes the BGLs for aircraft, but also for the boats. So it looks like they made some changes also to that, but also a CSV file, right? And as you already saw when I was scrolling to the commands, which I used, I was wondering, okay, hey, what's in that folder, which is the CSV file? Well, inside that folder, it appears that it's used by the traffic database, right? And it includes the list of traffic types it will be using. And it's a comma separated file, right? So you can use it to modify it with Excel. And here you can see all kind of different aircrafts. And then based on that, you can see some characteristics, right? The minimum altitude, the maximum altitude, the min and max range, the runway lengths, the runway types, the radius, the parking types, the IFR, the auto route, and the touch and go. And if we scroll to the top, we can see what this means, right? We can see per, I would say, a kind of attribute. What does it do? So you can see the type key, the title of the aircraft, right? And that maps to the aircraft TFG file. We can see all kind of other things which are populated. Also the IFR, probability of this aircraft IFR between 0 and 100. Auto route, automatically generate route for this aircraft. And touch and go, allow touch and goes when automatically generated routes. And you can see that most of them have no as the answer. Actually, all of them have no. But it could be that they might change this in the future, right? Maybe this is something they're already building on, which they didn't tell us, I would say, at this moment. So that's really nice to see, right? So the aircraft title, again, points to the aircraft CFG file. And that's the configuration file of the aircraft itself, which we will find in another location, which I will not go into deeper for now. So pretty interesting, this file. I'm wondering if we would make changes here, what would the effect be? But I didn't have time to test this yet. If you did test it, then let me know what the results were, because I'm really curious about this. If you don't want to test it, we're also friends, right? I can imagine that you don't want to play around with this file. So be very careful with changing this file, because it could have some side effects, as you might expect. So with this, we're already at the end of this video, right? I looked at the Flight Simulator itself, and there are not so many changes after installing this update. Maybe some change on the world map where they, let's say, placed some exclamation marks that the airport has been updated. But other than that, nothing has changed. You also don't need to install additional content like we sometimes see with world updates or city updates. That's not the case. No, only installing the update which is prompted to you when starting Flight Simulator, and then you're done. So here ends this video, where we looked at what's included in the update. We also looked at some secrets, which they didn't tell us, what has changed. However, we don't know what the effect will be, right? So that's something I must say I'm honest about. I really don't know what this is being used for, but looks like it's used for something in Flight Simulator. I hope you liked it. Again, if you liked it, then press the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.